How's it going? Thanks for dropping into the 5th episode of the Amp Surfer. My brother in New Zealand said, oh bro, you need to have more cameras and stuff. And I'm like, nah, don't. So I'm trying it out and seeing how we go. Anyway, I used to be a cameraman. I used to be a filmmaker. So I've got some stuff, but I just chose not to use it because I was being stubborn, basically. I figured whatever I have to say can be done on one camera, as simple as possible, and it can. So now, just got the better of me, and I thought, oh, okay. So what's possible? Anyway, that's that. So some news. I have got a pre-op examination on the 20th of November, which is in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm super amped for that. That means that the operation might be happening soon. I'm hoping personally that it will be this side of Christmas, 2025. So then I can recover over, the winter period, and then in my little imagination, come springtime, I'll be fitted with a leg, and in my little imagination, as soon as I get fitted with a leg, I'll be off learning to surf again. Might not happen quite like that, but in my mind it will. And that's what I'm pushing forward for. So anyway, that's my motivation, which is something I really want to talk about. However, maybe not today, but maybe. We'll see how we do. Anyway, so now that we've got this pre-op on the 20th, it's got me thinking about the things that I've put off thinking about. For example, what shoes will I wear? I think that's a legitimate question. What shoes will I wear? My staple diet of shoes is Birkenstocks, Doc Martens, Red Wing, and Vans, right? I'm not a sports shoe trainer wearing kind of a person. I wear them when I go to the gym, but they're just not for me. And all I see amputees wearing is trainers. So it kind of got me thinking, is it possible to still wear my Doc Martens, Red Wings? I'm guessing Birkenstocks will be fine because, you just kind of slide in, slide out. Not too much of a drama. Sorry about the rumbling tummy. Doc Martens, can I still wear them? I've got a few pairs that I love wearing in winter. Now that the weather's turned rubbish, that's what I love wearing. And it might be that, next year I can't wear them. So, will I have to buy trainers? Well, that's what they're called in the UK. I forget what they're called in New Zealand. It's been so long. Shoot, man. Maybe sports shoes, running shoes, gym shoes. Anyway, trainers in the UK. I've been indoctrinated into the UK way of life. I've been here 30 years, I reckon. So I've kind of forgotten some of those Kiwi-isms. Shoes, big thing that I'm thinking about right now. Most people would probably be thinking about how they're going to get around. I'm losing a limb. Or as my daughter put it, I'm losing an organ, which I thought was really hilarious. She's like, Dad, you're losing an organ. I'm like, well, it's a limb. It's part of my organ, overall organ. Anyway, so that was quite funny. So I'm losing a limb, and most people, I guess, would be worried about that, and I'm worried about what shoes I'm going to wear. Like, is Vinted going to be flooded with my lovely Doc Martens? Hope not. I don't know. We'll see what happens, eh? Second on the agenda is where am I going to recover? So as we draw closer to this date, of maybe getting this leg chopped off before Christmas, I don't know where I'm going to recover. I probably can't recover here in my cottage initially because I've got no way of getting from my car in a wheelchair to the back door. And once I get to the back door, then I've got to get through a little porch, 2 doors, and down a step and into this little cottage space, man. I'll have to get rid of everything so I can whiz around in a wheelchair doing zoomies. So that's kind of another thing. Another option is to go hang out with my fiancée. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but she's now my fiancée, Helen, who looked after me for the past ever. I did the honourable thing and proposed at the breakfast table, and she accepted once she realised what I was doing. It's quite a funny story. We were praying over breakfast, and in my prayer over breakfast, I was like, Lord, I pray that Helen would accept this invitation to become my wife. And she was like this in prayer, and she didn't even hear it. She was too it was really funny. My daughter and her daughter, Willow and Scarlett, were just like looking at me, kind of, Lynn looking at her going, are you going to say yes? And she was like with her eyes closed like this with a scrunchy face. It was so funny. And then I'm kind of like, hey, Helen, and she kind of opened up her eyes. I'm like, I'm trying to propose to you. And I had this ring in front of her. It was very funny. Anyway, she said yes. So she's my fiance. Recovery. I could recover at her house, but there's 17 steps going from the ground floor up to the bathroom, and then 16 steps going up to her bedroom, or the bedroom. So, or a bedroom, any bedroom. So, yeah, unless there's a chairlift going in, I don't know how we're going to get up there. So, that would be a cool option, but at the moment, unless something awesome happens, then yeah, nah. And then my mate's got like a static caravan just outside Nuki, and he's like, bro, you can use that. And I reckon it's kind of got a deck outside, so we could ramp up. But yeah, no, I'm all alone, and yeah, it's going to be a cold winter, eh? And that's not terrible. Yeah, it's got heating and stuff, but do I want to be out there on my own in a caravan park in the middle of winter? Don't know. So there's lots to think about. I'll probably end up in some nursing home or community hospital for a while, but I just don't know. And I guess I'm not that worried about it because it's out of my hands anyway. And the way my faith rolls, I don't need to really care too much. I'll row the boat, I'll make inquiries and do the thing, but whatever Jesus has for me, I'll just take that and accept it, and that'll be fine. So I'm not too bothered. More bothered about the shoes, in many ways. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be a bit of a thing, I guess. And I think that's kind of like this little update. That's it. I've been watching the surf. It's been macking out. Fistral was like 6 to 8 foot last week, one of the days, and I really wanted to get in and jump off the rocks at South Fistral, but there was no one else in, and I figured, if you're going to get smashed up after your first wave, and I just felt like going in on my own was probably a really stupid idea, even though my head really wanted to do it. And then I had to kind of think about what Steve, the one-armed surfer I spoke about in the last episode 4, and he was, he said to me, and this sticks with me so much, Craig, you need to forget the surfer you once were and embrace the surfer that you're going to be and that you're becoming. And I kind of thought about that, and I'm like, normally I'd go out there on my own. I wouldn't care less, I'd be that guy. And I've done that for years and years and years. But I just kind of second guessed myself and thought about what Steve said and just thought, yeah, nah. yeah, nah, need to be a bit more responsible. So I didn't get in, and yeah, you know, today's Friday, the something of November. I think it's like the 7th or 7th of November, and the swells disappeared. There's a little wave. I thought, gee whiz, do I do this or do I get in? So I'm doing this. I might get in, might not. We'll try. We'll see how it goes. Coming up, I want to talk about purpose and what that means to me, and I think what that means to people that have found themselves a bit lost, and the fact that you need purpose in your life, and I feel that what I've been journeying through is, if you haven't got purpose, there's no reason to get out of bed. If you haven't got purpose, there's no reason to go to bed early. You know, you can stay up late watching YouTube or playing games or whatever you do. So you need purpose. And that's something that I've really been thinking about and considering, and it's something I've done something about. So I've found some purpose in my sitting around, you know, going to the gym and you know, looking after my daughter and stuff. Outside of that, as a man, I need purpose. So that's something that I'm journeying through right now, and it's really cool. It's just really cool to kind of to go through that and to discover that, and then to kind of process that and do something about it. And I think it's the doing something about it that's the awesome bit, you know. I want to talk about that. I might do a video with my friend Arthur White, who has been a great man in my life. He, his background is, you know, he's a 4-time world champion power lifter in his day. He's a bit older now. He's 74. Man, he's a powerhouse, man. He's been a rock in my faith journey, and my journey as a man, you know, growing up. And I've just learned so much off him. And so I want to bring him in on the conversation. And so that would be super exciting. He's spent 30 years of his life traveling around the world, going into the worst prisons ever known to man, and telling his story. You know, I won't glorify it too much, but, you know, in the 80s, you know, late 70s and 80s, he was a gangster in London. He's a pretty dangerous guy at the time, but he's not now. He's a man of faith, and he's just awesome. So yeah, I want to have a conversation with him about purpose and being a man. Oh, and guess what? I've been watching the adaptive surf competitions in California. Radical, man. So cool to think that, I mean, those guys are good. They're really good. And I wonder. Now I'm thinking, can I surf in a GB comp or at all? And if I can I surf in a world comp up there with peg leg? Who knows? Probably not. Maybe. But probably. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, so thanks for dropping in to the Amp Surfer, and we'll see you next time. Sweet as. You.